Six guys, one girl. One night that spiraled into chaos, violence, and a courtroom no one expected. What began as a secret turned into a scandal, and by sunrise, someone wouldn't walk out alive. It was supposed to be a quiet suburban house. So why was a man lying face down at the base of the stairs, unconscious, his blood painting the tiles red? Another stumbles through the hallway, shirt ripped, screaming for someone who isn't answering. Furniture is overturned, a phone buzzes endlessly on the kitchen counter, and there's blood smeared on a doorknob next to a pair of sneakers abandoned at the back door. And then there's her, curled on the living room couch, knees pulled in tight, shaking. The fire department blanket had scratched her skin, and her mascara had melted into two dark trails down her cheeks. She doesn't speak when the officer kneels in front of her. She just stares past him, toward the bedroom door still cracked open. The silence is thick, almost suffocating. They all said it was consensual, the detective would later say, but none of them agreed on what actually happened. By morning, two were in the hospital, whereas one had completely vanished. And her story? Well, her story changed everything. Her name was Elise. 19 years of age, she was a psychology major. Perfect teeth, quiet laugh, didn't drink much, or at least not when people were watching. She had a way of making people feel like they mattered. Teachers said she was gifted, and guys said she was cool, chill, not like the others. But her closest friends, well, they didn't exist. Elise drew people in like a flame, but no one ever touched the heat. She never posted much, nor brought anyone home. Her parents were divorced. Her mom moved overseas, and her dad, always working. But under the polish and soft laughter, something cold kept its grip on her ribs. 2 years earlier, she'd been hospitalized for what was officially called exhaustion, but those who knew her back then whispered about something else. Something about pills, a boy, and a letter written in ink, and goodbye. She was the kind of girl people thought they could fix, one roommate said. She didn't bleed where you'd notice, one roommate said. But something in her always limped. By the time the party invite went out, Elise had changed, and the version of her that showed up that night wasn't the same girl anymore. It started with a ding, a screen, and 6 names that didn't belong together. 6 guys, out of whom some knew each other and some didn't. All of them thought they were special. Elise handed each of them a different truth, like knives with invisible handles. She told some that she loved them, others that it was just fun. One she met on a dating app, and another was her ex. She told them to come to the same house at the same time. There was no explanation. Maybe it felt like a prank, or a dare, or a trap they all stepped into willingly, but they all came still. There was alcohol, music, and no other guests. When the last guy arrived, the others were already there. The room pulsed with heat, ego, and the quiet hum of boys becoming rivals. Someone joked that it was a test. Let's see who she picks, one laughed, like it was a game with bloodless rules. And Elise didn't stop them. What followed wasn't an orgy, it was a downward spiral with every hour peeling back another layer. Jealousy, shame, and resentment. And when one of them reached for the doorknob, Elise clicked the lock without a word. And that's when a line was crossed. By 2 a.m., the laughter was gone, the music was dead, and Elise had locked herself in the bathroom. Someone was banging on the door, and another guy was passed out drunk on the stairs, and one, named Mason, was bleeding from his lip after a fight that no one seemed to determine how it started. Some said she wanted to be with all of them. Others said she was pressured. But the bruises told a story no one had written. Wrong shapes, wrong places, wrong hands. And a video that was recorded without her knowing surfaced the next morning. In the grainy clip, Elise wasn't moving at all. Her eyes were wide open, and she looked like someone had cut her soul out and left the skin and bones behind. One guy tried to delete it, while another tried to send it to a friend. And that's when it exploded. Mason lunged, and wood cracked as a scream tore the silence wide open, yet no one was listening. They were all trying to prove something, the detective later said, and by the time we got there, no one knew what that was anymore. One of the guys ran. He hasn't been seen since. And Elise? She was in the bathtub, soaked and trembling. Stunned, she kept whispering the same words, as if it were some kind of ritual. It was supposed to be a game. It was supposed to be a game. It was supposed to be a game. From the moment the police separated them, the case unraveled. There were 6 men and 6 versions of the night, and not one of them fit together, not even by a long shot. One claimed Elise had initiated everything by texting him beforehand, and clearly stated she wanted chaos. Another said she seemed scared, like she didn't know who was coming. A third refused to speak at all and lawyered up immediately. The one who vanished? His phone was found buzzing in the bushes, like it had tried calling for help after he disappeared. And Elise? She didn't speak for 48 hours, but when she did, her story came in fragments. She remembered the invites, the burn of alcohol, and then her hands, piling, clutching, and multiplying. It was like drowning without water. Too many hands. At some point, she whispered, I could still hear them, but my body didn't feel like mine anymore, like I was watching it happen from the ceiling. The detectives were stuck without any clear evidence of rape. There was no proof of consent, nor was there one clear aggressor. As for the video, it was grainy, and the audio even worse. One officer wrote in the report, this wasn't one act. It was a slow-motion implosion, like no one meant to destroy her, but no one stopped either. Toxicology showed Elise had taken anxiety meds with alcohol. One guy had cocaine in his system, and another tested positive for ketamine. The DA hesitated because they couldn't charge all of them. They probably couldn't charge any of them, and the girl in the center of it all didn't seem to want any of them to go to jail. Eventually, it went to court, but not the way anyone expected. In the end, just 2 names made it to the docket. Misdemeanor assault, illegal recording. No rape, no felonies, just a paper trail thinner than the bruises. The internet lost its mind as half the public called it a tragedy, and half called it a setup. Headlines screamed from every screen. The girl who broke the system. The boys who got away. Like this was fiction. One defense attorney said in closing, this isn't a crime scene. It's a cry for attention. But the real damage was way more personal. One of them was found in his dorm weeks later, unconscious and blue-lipped, like the verdict had drained the last ounce of oxygen. Another dropped out of school and moved states. Families stopped speaking, and friendships fractured. As for Elise, she vanished from public view, deleted social media, and dropped out mid-semester. Her last trace came in pixels. Blurry surveillance from a midnight terminal, a girl with dyed hair, a hoodie, serving like armor, and a suitcase packed like she wasn't planning to come back. Think about it. Dyed hair, hoodie pulled tight, and a suitcase too big for one night. We kept asking who was to blame, the judge said privately. But maybe the better question is, who was really in control? Today, no one really knows what happened that night. Some say Elise was manipulated, while others say it was the other way around. What we're left with isn't justice, it's wreckage. Shattered lives scattered across timelines and silence. Elise's medical records were sealed, and rumors swirled that she entered an inpatient facility in another state, or that she became an advocate for abuse survivors under a pseudonym. As for the 6 men, 4 still post selfies and memes from new cities, smiling through the algorithm as if nothing ever burnt. But every so often, a comment appears beneath one of their posts, Do you remember Elise? The silence that remains is unbearably loud. And maybe that silence is the sound of justice never arriving. Consent isn't just a checkbox, a campus psychologist later said. It's a shared reality. And when that reality collapses, no one leaves untouched. Was this a tragedy, a trap, or something much darker no one wants to name? What do you think?